Ever felt like the digital world we live in is built on a house of cards? One tiny piece gets nudged, and the whole thing could come tumbling down. Well, in late March 2024, someone didn't just nudge a card. They tried to replace a foundational pillar with a stick of dynamite. This is the incredible, almost unbelievable story of the XZ Backdoor, a software supply chain attack so sophisticated, it nearly gave a single person the keys to a huge chunk of the internet. So let's start with the basics. What is XZ? You've probably used it without even knowing. It's a data compression tool, a bit like the zip function on your computer, but it's a fundamental part of most Linux systems. Think of it as the digital equivalent of the pipes in your house. You don't see them, you don't think about them, but you rely on them every single day. The XZ library, specifically libelsma, is used by countless other programs, including a critical component called OpenSSH. And OpenSSH is the secure gateway that lets administrators remotely manage servers all over the world. See where this is going? Control OpenSSH, and you control the server. Our story begins not in 2024, but way back in 2021. A new contributor appears on the open source scene. They use the name Jia Tan. Now, in the world of open source software, projects are often maintained by volunteers. These are passionate developers who dedicate their free time to building and improving the tools we all use. The original maintainer of XZ, a developer named Las Colin, had been working on it for years, largely by himself. It's a thankless job and it can be incredibly stressful. Over the next 2 years, Jia Tan slowly but surely integrates into the XZ project. They start with small, helpful contributions. Fixing bugs, making improvements. They build a reputation as a reliable developer. At the same time, a few other mysterious online personas start showing up in the project's mailing lists. They're not contributing code, but they are applying pressure. They complain that the project isn't being updated fast enough. They subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, criticize the original maintainer, Las Colin, suggesting he's a bottleneck. They push for Jia Tan to be given more responsibility, more control. It's a classic social engineering tactic, but executed over a timescale of years. Imagine being Las, dealing with burnout, personal life issues, and now a constant barrage of emails telling you you're not doing enough. Eventually, you might just give in. And that's what happened. Jia Tan gained more and more control, eventually becoming a co-maintainer with the ability to release new versions of the software. The stage was set, the actor was in position. In February 2024, Jia Tan committed the first part of the malicious code. It was cleverly hidden, disguised as test files. Test files are something developers use to make sure their code works, but they aren't usually included in the final software package that users download. But these weren't ordinary test files. They were binary blobs, seemingly random data, but they were actually the first stage of the payload. A few days later, the second part of the attack was added. This was a malicious script that would run during the software's build process. This script would unpack those hidden test files and use them to modify the XZ library, specifically libelsma. The modification was genius in its evilness. It would insert a backdoor into the library. Now, this backdoor was incredibly sneaky. It didn't just open a door for anyone. It was designed to only activate when the library was used by the OpenSSH server process on certain types of Linux systems, like Debian and Red Hat derivatives, which are incredibly common for servers. When an attacker with a specific secret cryptographic key tried to log in via SSH, the backdoor would intercept the connection before the normal authentication could even happen. It would check the attacker's key, and if it matched, it would give them full remote control of the system. They could execute any command they wanted, the ultimate prize. The compromised versions of XZ 5.6, 0, and 5.6.1 were released. The plan was working perfectly. These new versions started making their way into the unstable or testing branches of major Linux distributions. This is the final step before a new piece of software is rolled out to millions of users worldwide in a stable update. The bomb was ticking, and it was just weeks, maybe days, away from being shipped globally. And then a hero emerged. A Microsoft developer named Andres Freund. And here's the crazy part, he wasn't even looking for a backdoor. He was just doing his job, performance testing a system, and he noticed something weird. He saw that SSH logins were using a surprising amount of CPU power, and they were taking about half a second longer than they should. It was a tiny anomaly, just 500 milliseconds. How many of us would have just ignored that? Huh, weird. Oh well, must be a glitch. But Andres is clearly not most of us. His curiosity was piqued. He's a database developer, so performance is his world. The half-second delay was a loose thread, and he started pulling on it. He dug and dug, tracing the source of the slowdown. His investigation led him through layers of software until he landed, unexpectedly, on the XZ library. He kept digging, analyzing the code, and realized something was deeply wrong. He found the obfuscated script, the hidden test files, and the signs of a sophisticated malicious injection. On March 29, 2024, a holiday weekend for many, he sent a short bombshell email to a security mailing list. The subject line, "Backdoor in XZ," the internet security community exploded. It was an all-hands-on-deck emergency. Researchers, developers, and security experts across the globe started tearing apart the code, confirming Andres's findings, and understanding the full scope of the attack. It quickly became clear how close we had all come to a digital catastrophe. If Andres hadn't noticed that 500 millisecond delay, this backdoor would have been baked into the stable releases of major operating systems. It would have been on countless servers, from small businesses to massive corporations and government agencies. So who was behind it? Who is Jia Tan? The short answer is, we don't know for sure. But the evidence points strongly towards a well-funded, highly skilled, and incredibly patient state-sponsored actor. The level of technical sophistication, the multi-year social engineering campaign, the deep understanding of the open-source ecosystem. This isn't the work of a lone hacker in their basement. The online accounts used by Jia Tan and the sock puppets pushing for their promotion have all disappeared. They were ghosts, created for a single purpose. Some researchers have pointed out overlaps in time zone activity with state-sponsored groups, but concrete attribution is nearly impossible. This event has been a massive wake-up call for the open-source world. It highlights the immense pressure placed on unpaid volunteer maintainers of critical infrastructure. We rely on their work, but we don't often support them. Imagine being the sole person responsible for the plumbing of a skyscraper. It's a huge burden. The XZ backdoor story is a sobering reminder of the fragility of our digital world. It's a tale of incredible patience and malice on the part of the attackers. But it's also a story of incredible skill and curiosity on the part of a developer who noticed something was just a little bit off. It shows that our best defense is often a vigilant, curious, and collaborative community. The house of cards didn't fall this time thanks to Andres Freund. But the incident has forced everyone to take a much closer look at the foundations we all depend on. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden world of technology and security. Stay safe out there.